party all night when this goes away. Let us smoke, let us smoke, let us light. Bring us love, bring us peace, the light. Through the night, we will get through it together. We'll find a cure or the better. Eradicate it forever. Let us all work together. We all have a role we have to play. Yeah, together we can make a better way. Until this virus goes away. They tell us stay 6 feet apart. For all the stuff it breaks my heart. Yeah, Lord help us find a way. Lead us to a brighter day. Lead us through the nighttime. Gotta find a way to escape. Gonna party all night.
What's up, Hey, everybody. What's up? Hopefully everyone's had a great day. Everyone is feeling great. Here we're back at the well. Pastor Ray, you want to go ahead and open us up?
I do. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Pastor Ray, Pastor Ramon. And listen, we're just glad to be with you on tonight, August 20th, 2020. Listen, tonight we are talking about 2020, parenting, graduating, and deliberating. It has been one heck of a year, y'all. And for a lot of folks, it's had some tough decisions that they've had to make. And so tonight we're going to check in with some folks that are living through this experience and having to make those tough decisions. All right, so get ready. We're going to bring our panel in just a second. However, listen, you know what time it is. I want you to share. We want you to like this, and we want you to comment. So look, like this post, and then share it. Share it on your page. Share it in different groups. Share it as much as you can. Let the world know that the well is here and you're ready for an encounter. All right? And speaking of encounter, we want you to encounter the well, become the well, emerge, and share the well. Hey, listen, those words are synonymous with encounter Jesus, become more like Jesus, emerge, and share Jesus.
Encounter love.
Become love.
Emerge and share love.
That's it. Listen, hope you got it. Encounter, become, emerge, and share. There it is. That's it. Now listen, we also have 5 words that begin with the letter P that we believe that the well should lead you down the path of. The word path is a P, but I'm going to let JoJo take that one.
So here at the well, we believe in the 5 Ps. The 5 Ps are passion, promise, purpose, peace, and power. Passion, purpose, promise, peace, and power. If we were in person, I would ask you to say them with me, just so you can get it and get our understanding. Everything we do here at the well should convict or agitate you to find one of the things for yourself. So find your passion, find your purpose, find your peace, find God's promise for yourself. And if you do that, I'm sure you will ultimately find your gift and your purpose, which is one of the P's, and have a fulfilling life. Next, let's say a word of prayer real quick, and then we're going to go right into the encounter, right? Father God, we come now just to say thank you. We thank you for everything you're doing, everything you've done, and everything you have done. We give your name praise and honor. We ask as we go into this encounter, God, that you open up our hearts and our minds and our ears just to receive and see what the youth of today and the parents of the day have to say for this time. This is a peculiar time, and I don't think anyone was ever prepared for this. So, God, we give you reverence and we give you honor. We thank you because we know that everything is already ordained by you. So
yes, it is.
In Jesus' name,
amen. Now listen, we have an amazing panel for you tonight. And again, we're talking about parenting, graduating, and deliberating this year of 2020 as a parent, as a student, as a teacher. And what we believe here at the well is it's all about the right questions. Listen, we believe that traditional church and all that stuff is amazing. But we also know that there's a different way to reach people. And we believe that we can reach people by asking the right questions, because questions lead you to do the internal questioning for yourself to find the right internal answers and believe you have your own relationship with the Creator. All right, so that's what we're all about, asking the right questions, talking and having the right conversations, and hopefully something will lead you to find your inner God, your inner strength, your inner peace, and all those other P's that Javon talked about. So without further ado, let's bring in this amazing panel that we have on this evening.
Panel. There they go.
What's up, everybody? What's going on?
Hello.
Oh, look, they're in high order. I love it.
Oh, yeah. guys to just let's go around, starting with Derek and then down to Gina, Travis, Dakota. Why don't you just introduce yourselves, give them your name, where you're from, and whatever else about you that you want to share. Let the people know who you are.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Derek Brame. I'm a graduate student at Johns Hopkins University, so I take classes, and as part of my graduate student duties, I teach classes as well. And then I'm also a father of two wonderful daughters who are ages about to be 10 and 6, so they're both in elementary school still.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Derek. Now, Gina, Dakota, and Travis.
Hey everybody, my name is Gina Jenkins. I'm a healthcare professional in the medical sales world. These are my two children, Dakota and Travis, and I'll let them tell you a little bit more about themselves.
Hi, I'm Dakota, a graduating senior from Flowers High School, and I'm going to be attending Bowie State University.
In like, how many days? In like 11 days. Woo, freshman.
Woo.
Hi everyone, my name's Travis, and I go to Thomas Pullen, and I'm going to the 6th grade, and I'm a media major.
A media. Wait, they have majors in middle school? This is new, huh?
They do, because he goes to a school.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm showing my age. Forgive me, because I'm showing my age. Go ahead, Ramon. I was like, wait.
Well, actually, but Thomas Pullen has had a major since.
I went to regular schools.
Listen, we also want to take a quick moment and give a shout out to the Amplify Network, which is how we're being broadcast to you. Shout out to Jackie and Terrence and all of the gang over at Amplify. If you're not already liking that page or following that page, please go and follow the Amplify Network. Like that page, share that page with all of your folks. Hey, listen, share this with your groups, share this in your messages. We're also on YouTube. What's up to everybody who's on YouTube tonight? We hope that you're sharing it. Text this link out. Let folks know we're about to have a real good conversation. And this is the new wave. This is the new wave. This is the new church, the unchurched church. You know what I'm saying? The unchurched church. I don't know.
Did you just brush your shoulders on?
I did. Listen, let me give a shout out to Isaiah Red, Dexter Fleet, Alex Prescott, Darlene May, Sydney Burke, and I think I also saw my brother El Chapo and Cassie who are on, and everybody else who's watching. Feel free to participate with us, dialogue with us in the box. We're going to read off some of your comments. You'll even see some of your comments at the bottom of the screen. Our sister Alicia is on.
Hey, Alicia.
All the way from California. Hey. Listen,
that's my sister.
Let's go ahead and have a little conversation tonight. So listen, I'm going to go right in. Derek, Gina, what has it been like being a parent in 2020? I mean, you know, your kids are facing opposition about whether or not they're going to go to school, whether or not schools will open. People don't know. You know, what is that like? What are the things, what has that been like for you all as a parent?
Yeah, so I'll go first. My kids are about 7 years apart, so they've dealt with it differently. We were chatting, just kind of like preparing for this. I mentioned that we kind of went from normal life, going to school, going to activities. My kids are in multiple activities. I'm involved in those activities with them, and it went from that normalcy to everything is kind of like shut down, but just for kind of like 2 weeks, and then we'll see how things go. And then it was 2 weeks more, and then 2 weeks more, and then no school to the end of the year. The end of the year. No more activities, no football, no cheerleading, things like that. So I think for me, it was easier to deal with as an adult because I can stay home. I've been looking for a day or a week to just,
I was going to ask that.
So like 2 weeks of not having to do anything, I'm like, yes. Of course, I was hoping that things would get back, but for them, just even that 2 weeks was like, so now what? And then the more they added on time, I think they went through a different range of emotions too, because at first it was just like, okay, we're a little bit bored. And then it went from like, being a little confused to actually, maybe having some fear to creep in there a little bit. Like, okay, this is a little more serious than we thought it was. When it gets to the point where you can't like visit your friends, you can't hug your family and things like that, then it becomes a little more serious. So I think just a different range of emotions. So it's been a bit challenging, but we've always been pretty open and we talk through everything. So, you know, we've had some laughs. We've even had some tears because obviously I have a senior who some of the activities that only happen once in a lifetime, unfortunately, didn't happen for her. So we actually did have some tears going on. But all in all, we're safe and we're healthy, thanks to God thus far. And so that kind of overpowers all of the disappointments that we've had during this time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Derek, what about you and your kids and my two babies over there?
Yeah, they at first I think there's a lot of similar experiences with Gina, Dakota, and Travis, where my kids, Helen is my oldest, Alice is my youngest. We're just kind of like, oh yay, vacation, we're gonna hang out and do whatever we want for 2 weeks. But my oldest daughter, who's very intelligent and very observant, started asking questions, very quickly, like what is coronavirus, what is COVID-19, why are we doing this, why can't I see my friends, this kind of stuff. And so she's going to be 10 in October, and she's at that age where she can start to really understand things and start processing them. So, I sat down with her for the first month. She would ask me questions every night before bed and be like, well, what about this? What about that? Why can't I do this? Why can't people do that? Why is this happening? And so for a while there, I would just answer her questions and try to help her, process it. My youngest daughter, Alice, is kind of loving everything right now because she would much rather be home with us than go to school in the first place. So she's really getting she just loves it. In fact, I don't think say we opened up tomorrow, she'd be like, but can't I just stay home? So but she's 6, and this is like the best thing in her mind is staying home and hanging out with her family.
And nesting with her family.
Right. So, and it's yeah, and it's been it's been challenging because we've had to, me and my wife Karen have had to change basically everything we do to kind of revolve around how do we, at first it was like we're just gonna, like Gina said, we're just gonna be home for a couple weeks, so we'll just try to get them through the couple weeks and then figure it out. And then it was okay, well, we're doing this for more weeks. How do we still provide them with some kind of education? And then it was, well, I guess we're not going back, and no, what do we do for the summer, because summer camps are closed and all the activities that we would normally do in the summer are not available. And then now it's coming to the fall, and we're just prepared for the rest of the school year to be the same as it is now. We'll just be at home helping them with their distance learning and probably through the rest of 2020-2021 school year. That's kind of what our preparation is, just because I think at this point we're like, well, what's the point in getting our hopes up, because everything's still just so fluid and uncertain.
So, real quick, just a little caveat to that. As a parent, how difficult is, we just got how difficult it is to parent in 2020, but how difficult was it for you to change your schedule around to adjust to this for your kids?
And then right before you answer that, just for everybody to know, we've got a young man who's going to come on any second now, who was kind of dealing with something else. So he's going to be on in just a second in that fourth box that you guys see there. But back to you, Derek. Sorry.
Can you repeat the question one more time, Javon?
I said so we just got how it was to be a parent in this, but for yourself personally, how difficult was it for you to readjust your schedule and everything that you had probably planned around the kids' activities. Because I know, Gina, you and your kids are definitely active. Cheerleading, football, instruments, everything. I mean, anything in the you cheerleading, all that. And then Derek, your kids was going to like camps and summer camps and school. But so how was it to like, on the whim, readjust your schedule to adjust to the new normal for your kids?
So as far as adjusting, like I'll start with work. So as far as adjusting my work schedule to be able to accommodate them being home, um, that actually was not as challenging as I thought it would be. Fortunately, I work for a company that really got out in front of this and really takes everything that's happening very seriously, and really wanted to protect their employees as well as our clients and our customers. So they acted very quickly to be able to find different ways for us to still work effectively from home. So I was fortunate in that aspect. As far as the activities are concerned, that actually left us with a lot of time on our hands. You don't realize how much you go until you just can't do those things anymore. We very seldom had time to just like sit and do nothing and, maybe sleep in and things like that. We had a pretty rigorous schedule, if you will. So between, like you said, football, cheerleading, the instruments, and just trying to keep them active and keep their brains, engaged in other things, which is what we normally did. We had to get like pretty creative because we ended up having that free time on our hands. But I will tell you, even though I was afforded the opportunity to work from home, working from home combined with the distant learning is not as easy as it sounds. Because for me, I actually still have to work from home. Like, I'm not just at home doing nothing. So there were times where at 9 o'clock, I had a meeting, Dakota had a class, and so did Travis. And so we got 3 different computers and have to make sure everybody's in their, different spaces, and I can't hear them and they can't hear me. Like, it gets pretty challenging. I would imagine that someone who has to physically still go out to work faces other challenges, but it's not as easy as it sounds just because I was able to work.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So let's just take a moment. Again, if you're watching, go ahead, like, share, comment your comments. I'm going to read a comment from El Chapo in a second. I want to welcome my brother Ahmed on. Ahmed, nice to see you this evening, sir. I know you had an emergency at work, so we're just glad to have you on, man. Why don't you take a second and introduce who you are, where you're from, and what capacity you serve at where you're from.
Okay, well, no, thank you for having me on. I really do appreciate this. So my name is Ahmed Surly, and I serve as an assistant director in the student involvement office at George Mason University. So we are responsible for over 400 plus student organizations, 43 fraternities and sororities, and some like major events such as our Mason Day Carnival, our Welcome to Mason welcome month and a half for our students that's happening right now as they're moving in, and just a number of special things that I have going on. So I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. That sounds a lot like what I used to do. I was an event planner, so trying to like reschedule and cancel events and deal with contractors and invoices at the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing COVID gave us like a really good like probably ain't got to pay no penalties for breaking contracts, but I mean you be looking forward to your event schedule and winding up yourself mentally just to prepare for that. Go ahead, Mom.
Yeah, so I want to read a comment that El Chapo said earlier. It's been more of a challenge when we were talking about what it was like being a parent. He said, and dealing with COVID, it's been more of a challenge, yet a connection for me, a bond with my kids, time I normally wouldn't have to spend with them to get to know them. I'd say overall, though, it's been a blessing. And I also want to say good evening to Sister Carolyn Sams who jumped on. How you doing, Carolyn? Nice to see you. My sister Arlena, nice to see you. And I know that Hamed, your name is spelled wrong. We just want to correct that for the people. It is Hammed. There it is.
Yeah,
So just see how that magically happened. I said the name and it just magically changed. That's
Wow, thank you,
power
thank
right
you. I
there.
appreciate it.
Oh, really?
Thank you, Jackie. Over amplified. Listen, so we were talking about the changes that you've had to make in being a father, but let's spread it out just a little bit. I mean, Ahmed, Derek, Dakota, and Travis, you guys have all been students or educators in this time or working in the school system. And so that looks a little differently too. Now I want to zone into Dakota because Dakota, you're one of those people that will always remember 2020 because this was a special year for you. You graduated high school and this will also be your first year in college. What was that like not being able to experience graduation
From
from
homecoming. Wait, homecoming's in the fall. I'm sorry. Spring break trips, senior prank day, senior skip day, like all that. Senior trip. Oh, y'all had a senior trip? Dang, I must have went to some poor schools.
Our senior trip was Dave and Buster's.
what she said?
David, but you don't worry about that. You go there anytime.
Yeah, I was like, okay. So, before we got on here, I was told to be honest. And my honest opinion on how I felt about everything not happening the way it was supposed to happen, I hated it. It was stupid. Like, I was so out of it. I was so over everything. My emotions were all over the place. Not being able to graduate was like, okay, you get the diploma, you know, you actually graduated, but you didn't get to walk across the stage like everybody else does. You didn't get to, I got my prom dress, I took pictures, whatever, but I didn't go to the dance. I didn't have the whole get up I was supposed to have, like, with the escort and all that stuff. So it wasn't actually the same. And I know this is selfish, and I'm not a selfish person, but I feel like since I didn't get to graduate, nobody else gets to graduate. Since I didn't get to go to prom, nobody else gets to go to prom. I had to sit at home and do everything else that everybody else needs to sit at home and have their senior year. Like, it was like you couldn't see your friends no more. The last day of school, for the people that you were in high school with for 4 years, you didn't get to see them because there was no last day. Like, it was just, I was in a
Because I know people in this area, girls in this area, they get their prom dresses started like in December. Like you got yours a special made and all that, and you got a tailor, and then you got to that. No, that's not. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry.
I think there's a picture of her graduation outfit. We'll show that at some point, hopefully. But listen, I mean, I know that's tough. And then, Lil Travis, I mean, right, like you've been out of school for a little bit, and y'all, just so you guys know, Lil Travis is one of my 9 grandkids through my godson. So I just want to share that, and I'm really just proud of him. He's a smart kid. Love that boy. But yeah, man, talk a little bit about what it's been like for you not to have been in school for the last couple of months, and how are you feeling about that?
Actually, I don't mind it because I go outside like three times a week, and other than that, I'm gaming and I like gaming, so it's been, I don't want to say better, but better.
But he misses his friends.
And
He does.
The friend group that I'm in, like, I don't know how to say it, like, not my immediate friend group, but like the ones that I talk to all the time, I still see them sometimes.
Yeah. I on YouTube, GoGo Loop says very difficult times, but just trying to find the silver lining is the key. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Ahmed, same thing with you, man. I mean, you're working in the school system. And so
Right.
you've had this moment of not only being in the school, but then, if I saw correctly, you guys are actually coming back in the fall or restarting classes.
Yeah. So
and it kind of sort of like, I mean, real quick, you were
yeah.
kind of in charge of like morale on the campus, basically, right? Student involvement days and stuff like that. Like you were the spirit, the all that. So like, yeah, please
Right,
go ahead,
right.
because I'm definitely waiting for you.
No, it's been really interesting. So George Mason. So for those that don't know, George Mason is in Fairfax, Virginia, so like 15 miles from DC, and we get students from all around the world that comes to the campus. So like with undergrad and graduate students, we have about 37,000, and then like 28,000 undergrads. So ever since March, we've been having to plan out what will fall 2020 look like. So I think now 80% of our students are taking well, they're taking online classes. 20% are on campus. So it's just been really interesting trying to figure out, okay, well, what will students like? Like, how can we still, make things happen and feel, and so students can feel like they have community, because that's something that they're still going to value. Um, it's just been very interesting, but now like I'm excited because I had some virtual retreats with my students, and being able to see them has been like really uplifting for me, because like that's just something I love to see. But I know a lot of our students are struggling, because especially our students that are part of you know black culturally based student orgs, our historically black fraternities and sororities, our multicultural fraternities and sororities, they just have no idea of like how to program in a virtual sense and how to like recruit students into their organizations. So it's just trying to figure out what their temporary normal, because I like to say temporary normal instead of new normal. What does that look like? So we're all trying to figure it out together.
So you're talking about like the Divine Nine, the Deltas, the Sigmas, the Kappas, the Zetas, and all that. Yeah. How do you do an intake meeting or interest meeting or do rush in a virtual setting? What are
We're
you
still
supposed to
trying to
fly
figure
out
it
on a what you supposed to fly out on a ghost page somewhere and tell everybody trying to find you?
out. Uh, I mean, a lot of our students are very resilient. So our black community, they usually have this organization fair called The Source, and they're moving it online. It's going to be via Zoom. So
Okay.
they're like putting together like videos, just like how the BET Awards happen, or like Global Citizen Concert happen, and it's really cool to see. So hopefully that will be able to like get people out there. They have a Black freshman orientation that's happening virtually, so they're slowly learning how to pivot. Especially our Greeks too. They're gonna have their informational meetings. They're gonna have their educational sessions all online. For the most part,
Mm.
some will still be able to do things on campus because we'll still have programming rooms available, but just with physical distancing measures put in place. So,
Mm.
for example, our largest space on campus, for which is like a ballroom, could hold up to 875 people. With physical distancing, it can hold up to 60. So it's just like
You
really
said
interesting to see how
60
60,
from
60,
eight
yes,
hundred to 60.
yes.
Do the math. Divide
That's
that
wild.
Like
in.
That's wild.
it's really interesting. I haven't even been back on campus yet, just to see like all the changes and stuff like that. So, my first time being back on campus with students around will be tomorrow night. So, because we're even doing like a drive-in movie for them. So it's just really interesting how student involvement looks in the age of COVID.
Dakota, I hope you listening, girl. You on your way to college. Just some of the stuff that you might walk into, which is crazy. Listen, Danny, who works in the school system as well. He says they're letting people out of jail for Corona, but sending the kids back during Corona.
Oh,
And so, Derek, I don't want to turn to you after that comment and say you're up at John Hopkins. You are a student and a teacher and a parent. You got all three spectrums happening. What does it look like? What are some of the concerns you have about going to class? Is a student going to class, is an educator, and then coming home as a father? I mean, does that concern you at all?
Well, so that definitely was a major concern, and I say was because Johns Hopkins a week or two, about 2 weeks ago, decided that they would do the fall fully online. Um,
Mm.
but that was a kind of a later decision. There was a hybrid plan being put in place, and there was a lot of questions that I had to ask myself. I live in DC, and having to commute to Baltimore, which I usually would take a commuter train because they're cheap and pretty reliable. But do I actually want to take a train? Probably not. So then I have to drive, and kind of figure out like what are the physical distancing protocols that are going to be in place. The spaces that we have in my department were designed for interaction, not for physical distancing. So that was, that was a concern I had. And there was a lot of questions I was trying to wrestle through. Like, do I actually want to go teach in person again? So I actually wasn't teaching in the spring. I had a semester off from teaching, but I'm teaching again this fall. And so, the question, like, do I actually want to go back to teaching? What are the exact protocols going to be like? My wife has health problems, and so, is it higher risk than other people for COVID? So then why, do I have to take that into account? So then, if we do go back to having physical in-person but socially distanced classes, do I just say, hey, I'm just not comfortable with this because I feel like it's too much of a risk, or are we going to have like face masks and face shields the entire time? So there's a lot of questions that are like, in some ways I feel thankful that I don't actually have to answer anymore because the decision was made for me. But that kind of brings its own host of challenges because now we're doing online classes. I got classes I'm teaching starting in a few weeks, and so our staff has had the summer, mostly to figure out how to do all this stuff. And so I'm in a physics department, and one of the major things about a physics department is you do physics labs, right? Like you get in the lab, you mess with equipment, you learn how circuits work. One of the best ones for this coming fall is you calibrate and then fire a little cannon, right? It's only like a small cannon. It's not very big, but it's a fun lab, right? Because the students get to be interactive. They get to shoot a little plastic ball. They get to adjust it. Learn how all that works. That's the lab that I try to really focus on, especially for the students who don't really want to be there, because when you can shoot the cannon and get it in to this small little 3-inch diameter hoop 10 feet away, all because you did the equations correctly, students really love that. Like I've had students jump up and down because they were so excited that they were able to actually do that. So there's a lot of challenges. How do you replicate that? It's kind of really hard. So yeah, that's.
So here we go. Now, there's a lot of talk about whether or not schools should be open, whether or not they should be closed. There are people who stand on each side of the road, right? They're like, if you believe in God, then you should go and walk in with all the power of God and sit in there and have the faith that God is going to protect you.
Put a hedge of protection.
Thank you. There are other people. There are other people who are very much right. Like no, like my faith tells me to stay home and let this thing work out. And then those people being criticized though from the other side, saying like you don't have enough faith. Where's your faith, right? And so I think just all the way around for all three of you is parents, is teachers, is students, is workers in the school system. What does this moment call for your faith? How are you feel? Even Lil Travis and Dakota. I mean, I'd love to hear all of you all, from any of you all. Where's your faith during this, and how has this affected your faith?
I got a little bit to put on that.
Yeah.
Is going back or staying home? Which one? How would you look at this? Which one is obedience and which one is sacrifice?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Well, Dakota, I said you would have had to add that little 2 cents on there.
I did have to add that
Um,
though, because which one is obedience? Which one is sacrifice? We talking about our faith, right?
so, yeah, so we're gonna answer that, but then Dakota had something she wanted to say when you guys were talking before. I think she had some input about going to school or not.
Yeah, so the person that said something about the people are getting out of jail for coronavirus, but kids are getting sent back. That's how I felt about graduation. Like y'all are opening hair salons and barbershops and nail salons, talking about people need to get grown and all of that, and you're finding a way to do it with social distance and find a way for people to go to grocery stores and Walmart and stuff like that with social distance. So I don't understand why they couldn't find a way to graduate with social distance. Like I don't understand how you can pick one thing and not
So
the other. Like
Dakota,
they're not that important.
so how has this affected your faith then? Because you're very strong on how you feel. You are very, very strong. You stand very strong on this. Don't make no sense. Nobody else should go to graduate. Nobody else should go prom. So how has this affected your relationship with God? Being as though your whole senior year was robbed from you.
I don't know. I feel like everything happens for a reason, but I still don't get it. Like I don't know. It might have changed it now that I'm thinking about it. I don't think I talked to him as much,
Mm.
but I still have faith in him. I feel like everything happens for a reason, and there's a season for everything. So it might be a reason that I didn't get to experience what everybody else got to experience, and maybe I have something greater coming. But I still don't get it. Why? Why couldn't it have been last year or next year? Like why me? Like why my year?
He just had to wait to 2020 to do all this.
Yeah, and they talking about 2020 perfect vision. This is not a vision I wanted to see. I could take my glasses back off. Travis, what about you? How has this affected your faith? Or has it affected your faith?
No, I don't think it does. Only because I think that everything he does it for a reason. And there's something better coming. So we all have our bumpy roads and the phases that we have to go through to get to the better place.
Try to steal my stuff.
Mm.
Wait, and I have when y'all were saying like what did you say? Oh, about the people who are saying some people are saying you need to have faith, and he's protecting me and all of that stuff or whatever. So I feel like yes, still have your faith, and he should protect you if it's meant for you. If you're gonna get coronavirus, you're gonna get it. I mean, not regardless of what you do, because also you still have to be safe, wear your mask, and do the things that you need to do, wash your hands and stuff like that. So still do those things. But even with doing those things, it could just be a chance that one day you do get it, with you doing it or not. If it's in his plan, then it's gonna happen regardless. But still be safe. That's how I feel about that.
Yeah.
And as far
Yeah, go ahead, Jen.
Well, get that whole box.
Dakota was saying that I say a lot, have faith, but don't be stupid. So, like,
That's it. That's
I don't
it
know.
right there.
I don't know. I don't know if those are my exact words, but that's
yes,
my
it was.
sentiment. Like, because ultimately, God is in control. God has the final say, and that's what I believe. That's my faith. But like, you can't be aware of what's going on, and then just say, "God got me," but then you go touching door handles and all this, and don't wash your hands and put your hands in your face. Like that's stupid. Like you need to wash your hands and be clean. You know what I mean? You can't just be like, "Oh God, protect me," but I'm going to this pool party. Like, no, you can't do that. Come on, it doesn't make sense. And then you end up sick a week later, and you're like, "Why, God? What? Come on, like don't don't do things like that." So I'm saying like, trust in Him, but still take the proper precautions. Like my daughter said, it doesn't mean it's going to protect you or guarantee you 100%. By taking these proper precautions, but it can decrease your risk. Ultimately, you want to continue to pray. You want to continue to take care of yourself and take care of the body that, God has provided you with, you know, and ultimately, you could get it and you could overcome it. I, have send my condolences to the people who have really truly been affected by this and who have lost family members and things like that. Of course, you have some people who have just been negligent, but then you have other people who have done everything, that they think they were supposed to do, or, everything right, and it still affected them and their families negatively. But I think it's up to you to, like, do the work that you're supposed to do to try to protect you and your family. And then, yes, lean on God for his protection and his guidance. But to just be like, I'm good, God got me, I ain't wearing that mask, girl. Okay, good luck.
Go over there, baby. Go over there. Thank you.
God, this much room to protect her, because even she said she was being anal at first. We was wiping everything down, wearing gloves everywhere we go. Don't touch nothing. Don't look at, like, oh my God.
That's why you still
You gotta
here.
write down individual grocery before you put it in the refrigerator. Like,
Listen, because I will say this, there was so much unknown to this. There was so much that we didn't know when it first came about. And so, there can be some fear with the unknown because you don't know what's on the other side. You know what I mean? That can kind of tie into faith, Javon, because, sometimes we don't know what we can't see. However, I feel like probably all of us on this call, my children included, have been through some life experiences where we may not have been able to understand what God was doing. We may not have seen the other side of it. But when it was all said and done, he was able to get the glory. And for that,
Gina, just go ahead and take over. Let Gina go ahead and take over. Go ahead.
I know. Listen.
Give it out.
But I want to say this. There's a comment that Derek. I want to jump to you on. Carolyn Sams, who watches this faithfully. Hey, Sister Carolyn, the Bible says, "Obey the law of the land." You have your kids, and we have seen so many different rules come out, so many different orders in different states, different parts of the country
from this administration,
but also just from the administration all over the country. What Derek, is a father. Is your faith taken into account by all of the law of the land right now? Do you see that happening? Do you think that your faith is intertwined with? Do they take that into consideration? Are they operating? Do you think they're operating out of faith? How is that affecting you in terms of how you're dealing with your family going through this?
Well, I think the faith component for me personally, and a lot for our family too, is best kind of like both me and my wife Karen are scientists, right? So our approach is to look at the evidence and then form, our opinion based on that. However, though, we're both people of faith, and we believe that God gave us the tools to help ourselves. He will help us as well, but he also gave us a whole lot of tools that we have learned and discovered over, the time that we've been on this earth that we can use to help ourselves, right? And, science is one of those tools. And, the scientists had, there was some mixed signals at the beginning, but I think, as COVID-19 was studied more extensively, a coalescence came about of like, this is what we should do. And, we've just, for us, that has been our guidance right there. We believe that God gave us these tools to help ourselves. And so, we trust that God was doing that out of love so that we could do the things we needed to do. I mean, I think if God had wanted it to go a different way, it just would have gone a different way, right? And so for us, like, my personal faith, I think, has been challenged a lot just out of, like, wondering what, uncertainty can sometimes be kind of hard for me personally. But in terms of, like, how am I handling, faith in the time of coronavirus, I think just having the ability to trust that, for instance, like, I know tons of scientists. I got a friend who works for the NIH doing, he helps formulate the flu vaccine every year, right? And so just knowing people in all space in a lot of spaces helps me to trust that those people are actually caring. They're actually trying to help. They're not out there trying to harm people. They're trying to help people. And so knowing that, like, even if they're not necessarily people of faith themselves, having the faith that God has put them in that place for a reason to help people has, given me a lot of comfort.
Ahmed, what about you, man? What are you feeling about? I mean, you interact. A lot of what you do is interaction,
Yeah.
And so, right, like you coming back again, like you got to figure that out this year. How much do we interact? How much distance do we have? How many people can be in one room? Are you operating out of a place of faith? Do you see your faith at work in this? Has it weakened it? Has it strengthened it?
I think I could put my thoughts into words. I mean, faith is believing in the unknown, and we have a lot of unknowns right now, right? I think George Mason has done everything that they could to keep people safe in the pandemic. Like, we have a lot of spaces on campus that are outside, and you can only have up to 150 people, which is even lower than what Virginia requires, because for Virginia you can have events of up to 250. And they're also making sure that, like, there are there's hand sanitizer everywhere. People are cleaning up, like, after events, and there are just different precautions put in place. So if you are going back, so for example, if you're somebody that's going to a college campus, you need to see what protocols are in place, and does that align with, like, your belief system and, like, what you think should be happening. So, I mean, for me, I think that this whole situation, I have the thought of things are what they are until they're not, and I mean, I can only do the best that I can, but it hasn't affected my faith as, I just don't believe in anything anymore. I think now is the time to believe in something, if anything, to be able to have that positivity, to be able to keep your head up, and do it in a reasonable way, right? So I have the faith that if people do what they need to do, we'll be able to get through it. Now, am I concerned? Yes, because I work with college students for a living. College students don't like to listen because they think they're grown. Actually, like, my work emergency, some of our students are having some parties on campus, so, like, we have to figure out what's going on.
You shut the party down.
I didn't shut the party down.
Nah, y'all watch out.
I like to keep the party going, but in the age of COVID. But no, I really feel like it's important that we are making sure that people know what to do. Like, for example, for what Gina was saying, yes, have faith, but don't be stupid. And that's my biggest thing. Just don't be stupid, and don't just, like, go out here and just be like, I'm just, like, cover with the blood, I'm good. Like, no, like, you have to put in work, along with that faith. Like, they have to go hand in my opinion.
Wow, that's good, man. Yeah, that's good.
The Bible does say, in all you're getting, get understanding.
Yeah.
So if you're going to understand the word and apply it readily for your life, then you have to be able to adhere to the gifts and the different talents that God gave to the body. So, like, a doctor is a gift, a scientist is a gift, and if we don't work together, then we're going to die. And if by listening to those different gifts and all these different places that people are graced in that you aren't, then you can thrive. But if you don't,
right, you're gonna die. I mean, and that's the biggest thing is, like, for me as a higher education professional and a student affairs professional, I need students coming back to campus, coming to campuses, to realize that, hey, like, you need to follow the rules of your university has worked with local public health officials. They probably work with CDC and making all of these things happen for you to be able to come back to campus because that's what y'all wanted. So we don't want another situation, especially at Mason, like University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Like within a week, they had 135 cases of COVID because people were having parties and like they were acting up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I heard, I think it's Notre Dame, if I'm correct, that Notre Dame that reported close to 60 cases. 30, almost 30 of those were cases that popped up from over the weekend. And so they open, but then one of the issues they're having is how to keep their students contained to just having gatherings with folks that are already on their campus and not kind of going off of the campus. You know what I mean? And so that's a complex thing right there. Because like you said, you know, teenagers or young adults at that age, in their early 20s, are like, you're not about to chain me down. You know, we see that through the county where we had the mansion where there were 150 folks in Upper Marlboro who were together.
I heard they charged a lot of money for that party. Y'all heard how much was getting that party? It was like $100 to get in that party.
It was over 150 people, and all of them were paying $100.
Wow.
That's crazy, you know. Like, and so,
look at you. You got that much. You paid that much to be stupid.
Yeah, just enough bail money to get the person who threw the party out of jail.
Yeah,
okay.
Just enough bail money to get them out. Yeah. They made money. That's right. How do you?
What?
Say it again,
What they do? They don't work at Bowie. Bowie freshmen last night. Apparently, they was getting lit.
Oh, really?
Don't tell him. You know he gonna snitch.
Oh, no. I work in Virginia. Whatever school do their business, I worry about where I get paid on
So, Pastor Ray, do you think, because we are on this panel, I know we don't really, we tend to give out questions, but we never really answer them ourselves.
Yeah.
So, me personally, and I think I want Pastor Ray to take this in too, right, is because we're about to close in a couple minutes. Me personally, I don't think we should open schools. Point blank, period. Because I had a conversation with a friend, especially elementary schools, high schools, and middle schools. Colleges are different because the kids go off and they don't come back home for some time. But I think lower education, because putting its kids in school just like they did in Georgia, it does not just affect that home. If my kid catches it and then brings it home to me, and then I'm asymptomatic, I go to work and then I spread it to people and then they spread it. So one school of 300 kids could potentially spread it to about 10,000 people. Like, let's just be real. And I said a school of 300 kids, and that's not really, because when I went to Suitland, our ninth grade class came in at 1,000 just for ninth grade. So imagine the schools up here and how high capacity we are and how overcrowded they are. And then you mean to tell me we're going to go back to school and you can literally, if you open up all the schools and shut down this just off the interaction. You know, like with, and you know, I use the example of when they used to explain sex and sex ed, this person, when you sleep with this person, you sleep with all the people that they sleep with. Mm-hmm. So if I contact it and then I take it home and then my parents go to their prospective jobs, if they're not working at home, and then they spread to their people, imagine what that tree looks like. Imagine what that chain looks like for everybody. Me personally, I don't think we should open schools until there's a vaccine, until cases have started to go completely down, at least by 20 to 30%, like where the nation is not reporting any cases.
Lil Travis.
No, I'm saying if there was a vaccine, I don't think I would take it because I'm just not trusting the government as of right now. They give out false information. And then there was also something that said if you don't take the vaccine that's being made, you can go to jail or be fined.
Come on, you better have an aware child.
You know, I love it. I had a conversation with T2. I call him T2. We had a conversation.
He said, if you don't, I'm not taking it because if they rush that vaccine too quick, ain't no vaccine for nothing this daily. Get ready this quick. Vaccines take years. Derek tell them take years of testing and trials and tests to see the effects. We're gonna take this COVID vaccine, and in 20 years, everybody gonna just miraculously grow a tail. We're gonna be like, where did that come from?
Like population control to me, but we're not gonna talk about
But now,
it.
I
Derek,
mean,
I mean,
We got some conspiracy
Derek,
theories
but now,
too.
do you think that having
She said
all of
population
this
control.
money dedicated towards this helps to push it faster?
yes, because having more money dedicated gives the researchers who are doing the research and trying to push it forward more time to focus on it, right? And so, but I think I think T2 makes a good point. Like if it's already here, like if a vaccine comes out next month, do you really want to trust it? Like, is that properly researched, properly tested? I mean, the best. I mean, I think the most realistic time that we'll get a fully tested, fully trialed vaccine is like at the earliest in like June of 2021, something like that. It's going to be a while. And maybe that's the normal course of vaccine trial and testing. Maybe with more money, because they have the time to dedicate it, it'll go a little faster. But it's not going to be this year. It's not going to be in 2020.
Yeah,
It's just not possible.
yeah, at least
Did y'all hear my baby
It
Dakota?
hasn't-
Dakota said this was population control.
Yes,
She
yes.
said this was
because
population
there's a
control.
lot of stuff going on. It's not
these
just
kids over
Corona
here.
going on.
I'm done.
So many things going on, and this is trying to.
Also, I believe Corona's a cover up for some stuff that they're doing behind the scenes.
You said Corona's a cover up for something different, huh? Listen. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't know. That's the thing. We don't know. Let me say this, Javon. I kind of brought up a point that I want to share some information. There's a young gentleman down in the South. I don't remember what state he's in because we're Facebook friends, and I know he had put up a post really conversating on really saying that we need to be able. The government is trying to control us by keeping us in the house, by keeping us on lockdown, and so he's really against the government keeping us in masks and keeping us home. And listen, I respect perspectives. I'm all about it. Matter of fact, I'm the church and I'm preaching for a Sunday. The sermon is about perspective. But what I want people in faith to remember,
Virtually preaching.
yeah, virtually preaching. Well, thank you. What I want people in faith to remember is this. I always go back to the time of Moses, and I think I talked about this when we were in person with the well. I go back to the time of the Israelites and the first Passover. And I always remind people, listen, can you imagine how crazy it would have been if God had said, go in, lock your doors, sacrifice your lamb, and put the blood on the door, and I will have death pass over your place. How crazy, right, would it have been if people were like, well, I don't know, because that keeps me out of the temple. And that's where God is, in the temple, and I want to get out, and I want to I want to be able to have praise and worship in the temple. So I don't know if God's really saying this, because that's where I mean, there is a place that you've got to execute listening and being in tune with God. And I think what I always tell people is, don't do something just because you are comfortable doing it. Do it because you've heard God say to you, right, that your spirit is compelled to do what God is telling you to do. Now, if God told you to do it and you go off and you perish, guess what? I can't say nothing about what God has told you to do and you perishing. But if you are able to say, if you are able to say that this is what God told me to do, right? I'm doing this because I want to have my liberties and go and do this. I want to have my freedom. I just want to go because I love church. I miss praise and worship. I miss being amongst the saints. Practice faith. If you're going to be about faith, be about faith. You know what I mean? Dakota, yes, I'm sorry.
These kids talk to
No,
me
you're
tonight.
fine.
Come on.
Okay, so I want to piggyback on when we were talking about what happened to your faith and like within the whole thing. So I already said that my emotions were all over the place, so I forgot to include the up. I only said the down, like I don't talk to him as much anymore. But I feel like when the first 2 weeks we got locked down, I'm like, what's going on here? Like, I'm not really feeling this. So I was like, it's okay because it's only 2 weeks. And then once the 2 weeks got added on, I actually started, because I pray every night, like when I was younger, and then, it falls off. Sometimes you do it, sometimes you don't. And then I feel like while we were in quarantine, like actually locked in and really couldn't go anywhere, I was praying every night, like every single night. So I think it went up and down. So it was good in the beginning. Then once I really realized, like, I really don't have a graduation, I really don't have a prom, I really can't do anything. It was like,
Yeah.
Make that face again. Hold on, make them big just so she can make that face. Do it again.
yeah.
Something like that.
I said,
Ahmed,
no. And then,
oh, I missed it.
The stuff, so like all the different things that were happening, like how we were saying, like the population control. And then I also felt like it was the end of the world. That's why I was praying every night because, you know, I don't know
get your soul
where
right,
in the,
because you had to make sure you was going.
I don't know where in the book it is, but when it was talking about like those wildfires, a virus, like I feel like all the stuff was happening. And I was like, the world's going to end. Is Jesus coming back or what?
One thing is still
Man, let me go ahead and pray tonight because I got to go. When he comes
Travis
back,
thinks it's ending. See?
it's still is. It's not over.
You said what, T2?
I don't think the world's gonna end. I think God's gonna come back because everything is going in order right now. Like it's everything. The locusts in
Yeah,
Africa,
all of that stuff.
the spreading of other stuff is everything.
Yeah, the
is
locusts,
going in order. Wildfires,
the
and
virus. And they talking about killer hornets. I'm like, what else can it be?
it's all.
Are y'all
going
reading
in
your
order.
Bible? Because you know they said in the end, your kids will dream dreams and prophesy. Let me go get my life together. I'll see y'all later, okay? Because the kids know. Then we got to, y'all better read your word because it said in the end, your kids will have dreams and dream dreams and prophesy. So y'all, you say you on this way? Because I need to know because I was going to go up and go ahead.
Yeah, I was.
Okay. We're going to get off in a second. I want to get just a closing statement from everybody. Can I just point out something funny? Again, if you're watching this, please go like the Encounter the Well page, like the Amplify page, share this on your pages. I just want to point out something real funny before I get everybody's last word. So, you know, because it's the three of you guys, Gina, Dakota, and Travis, sometimes for us is low. What I think is so hilarious about Javon is everybody at home is watching us lean in, is if us leaning in is going to help us hear any better when we got earphones in our ear. So right now, we really it's like, we both like,
what you doing? You turn down the air so you can hear better? You turn down the air so you can hear better?
Every single
Wait.
time. It was.
Hold on, that's true though. Like when we're in the car and the air is like pumping,
She be like,
turn the air down. It doesn't help.
Gina, you showing your age. Okay, let's get the last statements because let's go ahead.
That's what it is.
Listen, I'd love to get everybody just a quick last minute word. You know, we talked about a lot. And we've talked about faith. We've really talked about where our faith is. I would love to hear some final comments on faith. But I also, you guys, especially Derek and Ahmed, who are working in the school system, you know, even if you have some recommendations for people as they move into this, what, you know, any warnings, any advice, any thoughts that you think people should consider as they're going back into this climate, and especially going into the fall, in whatever capacity they're going into. So, yeah, just feel free to chime in with any last words.
I think for me, so for college students going back, if you are in a space where it is virtual, like, don't be afraid to go into those virtual events. Like, you know, these universities are really striving to, like, you know, keep that same experience alive for y'all. You know, get connected with your student activities office, your student involvement office, because, you know, yes, like you're going to be taking classes online in cases on campus, but we want to be able to make sure that you feel connected to your university. I think that's the biggest thing, especially, you know, if you are at a PWI or at HBCU, it doesn't matter. Like, we want you to feel connected to your university. So please, like, take those opportunities. And then the other thing is, like, please wear your mask. Please be physically distant from people. Don't go to a party that's more than 10 people. Like, be smart. You know, we want to. I know this sucks for our college students.
She was saying,
don't
don't
wear
wear
your mask down. not protecting you.
Please don't wear your mask down here, please. Over your nose. Over your nose. Okay. Get all of this.
I can't breathe sometimes, and then you got on that beard.
No, well,
because that's gonna be real.
you can
nasty.
breathe with a mask on. It is scientifically proven. If you have a bad fit, then you need to get a new mask. But there are so many. But yes, but like, please, I know y'all are gonna be itching to party, see y'all friends, or make new friends. Like, there are so many opportunities to do that online right now, and if you're able to do what you need to do now, then you'll be able to enjoy everything, for your college experience like to come. But please be smart. Don't be stupid. That's it.
Thank you, Ahmed.
I would say, be safe, be smart, just like Ahmed said. I think this also is, a great time for all of us to think about the systems that we have and find ways to improve them. We have had these educational systems for a long time, and they have problems, inequities, structural issues that are hard to address. Well, we're not actually in the systems right now, so I think it's a good time to be creative and come up with ways, at all levels to try to improve everything we're doing.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Derek.
And the Gina clan, y'all got any last words? Because all the words, I love it though.
My last words are, obviously remain faithful, but don't be stupid. For the parents out there, we are getting ready to face a really challenging time. I think the ending of last school year was just a taste. No one was really prepared, teachers included. Now they've had a little more time to prepare. We just don't know what to expect. So I would just say, really use this time to get in tune with your children and really get in tune with how they learn so that you can assist them as best as possible and just stay as connected as possible to the teachers and, administrators through whatever platforms that they have made available for you so that, our kids don't fail. I'm really apprehensive about this school year, and so I think we have a duty to help the teachers and the staff with our students this fall.
I don't have anything to say because I probably need the advice. So just wear your mask and use hand sanitizer and wash your hands.
Only thing I want to say is just be prepared for the world to end.
Oh, God.
What? Bye.
No, that's just Travis.
Did you really say be prepared for the world to? Nobody wants that to happen right now. Okay, I still got a couple of things I ain't got off my. We on live. Okay, go ahead.
Stuff
But,
that
you know-
I see, other verses in the Bible, it's like it's all just going one after another.
Shut that gift up.
You said it's happening one.
No, shut that gift up right now. I'm so glad that God poured that into you. But you got to know the time and the place to prophesy.
Hey, listen, that's it though. That's it though.
If he said let him say it again, I bet
Listen,
y'all get up and walk back.
One of the things I will say, I mean, what I will say about what Lil Travis said, about teacher said, is that that is so fundamentally right. Like, Chris said, Luck said, Travis, we're gonna work on you getting on the Bass Pro Tour. The world can't end yet. Listen, the Bass Pro Tour. Oh, the Bass Pro Tour. Yeah, thank you. But I think it's what is so evident about that is the Bible says be also ready, because he says he come like a thief in the night.
No.
You don't know the day nor the hour.
No.
So really, kind of what he said is just something we all should be living by at all times.
No,
because the world can end at any moment.
No.
I'm
Nobody
telling
lives
y'all,
their life like that. This is not back in the day when we living in the last days.
Boom, and then it didn't happen. I was like. And then all of this stuff started.
Put your kids to bed. Gina, it's time for you to put your kids to bed. They need a snack. They must be hungry or something.
I know.
I'm about to go because they wait for the world to end.
Listen, I want everybody, if you want, listen, first of all, we want to thank all our panelists tonight.
Yes.
You guys have been
Thank you so
amazing.
much.
The energy is amazing.
Except for
Ahmed,
the
I know
dudes.
that we've got your social media up there where they can follow you at Ahmed Sirleaf. So I know you like to have your followers. Derek, I know you're not as much on social media, but so right, yeah. There's no way. Gina, I know your stuff is private, so you're not as much on social media. But again, I thank you all for not only being on the panel, but let me say this, for the work that you do as students, as teachers, as faculty members, as health workers, and as children and prophetic children. And
No, they're not prophesizing nothing. Because the
Mom,
Bible
that's why
says, see, you have,
because you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know what's gonna end. That's why you need to pray and be right with God. So if anything do happen,
see,
you know
let
where
me
you're
tell
going.
you. See, the Bible also says not even the Son of Man knows the day. So don't Jesus know. So if you think he ain't going to tell his son, he going to tell that one, I ain't going for it. Nope, ain't true. And that's Bible. That's Bible. I ain't going for it.
It is, right?
I want to lift up
But
something.
the most no.
We're done.
I want to lift up something that Danny said. He said, wear your mask means wear around people you know also. I do think there are times when we're in groups, because I do hear that the research is saying now that people are not only catching it from the bigger groups, but more of what we see is people catching it from the smaller groups, the 10, the people of 8, the groups of 6, the groups of 15. So we have to be careful all the time. Carolyn says, it's a shame some people are walking around like Superman and Superwoman. And Corona don't have a name. It everyone.
Please be safe.
Oh, it's Corona doesn't have a name.
Name on it.
On it. Please, everyone, be safe.
Well, guys, that's our broadcast for tonight. Because the world didn't end, and the kids and Ramon, you want to close
Chris said Gina done trained them right. Yeah, listen. If you're not following us on all our social media, listen, everybody, take a chance. And
vote,
Gina,
vote.
Yes,
Make sure
go vote.
This is not about to be political, too. Y'all, we covering too many things tonight.
That's right. Go vote on November 3rd, 4th.
Sorry.
Please go vote. You're right. No, listen, if you're not following us on all of our social media
Stop laughing at
handles,
me.
make sure you follow us at Encounter the Well on Facebook and on Instagram. Encounter the Well.
Encounter the Well.
Make sure you're following us at our website, www.encounterthewell.org.
Oh, we did that in unison.
We did. That was dope. So make sure you follow us on those places. Listen, we're on the Amplify Network. So again, if you're following us tonight, if you're able to watch us, make sure you're in tune with the Amplify Network. They are broadcasting things every day that inspire, that motivate, that uplift, and we encourage you to check them out. Go like their page, share our page, share their page. And definitely, if you want to join with us, invest in what we're doing, we are always open to having financial partners. You can find that on our website, or you can text to give. So using your phone, you can text any dollar amount to the number 84321. It's a beautiful picture right there, because you can see the $100 at the bottom, and then the 84321. If that's $500, $100, $20, we want to partner with you so that we can continue doing programming like this. And also, we're having our 2020 campaign. I'll make sure the flyer is up here for you next time. If you go to our website, you can learn more about what the 2020 campaign is, and we ask for you to join us there. It's been a great night.
We love you.
And we hope that you have a great week. Oh, listen, next week, make sure you tune in, because we're going to be talking about incarceration and faith. It's going to be big next week, and we want you to join in. So pass the word. I'll have the event up probably by tomorrow, but we've got some great guests that are coming on and talking about being in the system and still having faith to get through the system, and that's that incarceration system. So we love you, and good night.
Together, you'll find the cure on your better, eradicated forever. Oh, we need you, yes, we need you. First off, I show love to the doctors, props to the medical staff.